Welcome back to another episode of Talkin' Tongue, the bi-weekly escape from reality show where I get to talk to my friends near and far to talk about the movies and the things like reality. Like, are we even part of the world right now? Are we living in some sort of simulation? You know what I mean? Axandre Lemours?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, my guy.
Yeah,
I absolutely understand that feeling, and I've understood that feeling since 1999.
If you don't know what we're talking about yet, well, I'm sure you do because you clicked on this episode and you saw the title of it and you saw the guest. But hey, just pretend you don't know what we're talking about and let us tease it out for later. We have Axandre Lemours, who has been in the Pod Cavern, on Ranked, on Talkin' Tongue, a bunch of different stuff. Yeah. And he's back again. You can't get enough of him.
I am happy to be back. I'm always down to chat nerd shit with Tongue, with my favorite cavern dweller.
Yes. Thank you. And, Ax, I'm always happy to have you because there is, you might think there's a plethora of nerds out there, but I would argue that whatever the term nerd is, has just morphed into just so many different things now that I can't find the right type of nerd. Right.
True. And yeah, I get where we're going with that. And I guess what I've thought of as, or at least like what I thought the term nerd to be was really just someone who is, unhealthily obsessed with something. Maybe not unhealthily, but to the point where they can talk your ear off about it because they just are passionate about it so much. So, I mean, you can be a nerd for finance or you can be a nerd for video games, whatever the hell.
Yes, but I need a specific nerd. I need the Axe nerd, he loves video games, loves movies, loves TV, just loves what I love. And that's what Talking Tongue's about, is to feed my ego some more.
I like movies, I like theater, I like sci-fi, I like existentialism. How's that for a segue?
That is a great segue, which is unneeded because we're not going to get into that yet. Not yet. I'll tease it out a little bit more. I want to know what you've been up to in life. It's been a while since I last spoken to you. I can't even remember the last thing that we did in the Pod Cavern.
I'd have to scroll back. It might have been Top 5 90s songs, or did we do something after that? Yeah, it seems like a while ago, doesn't it?
We have to revisit some of that stuff then. I got to get you back on Ranked. But this is Talking Tongue. We don't talk about other shows. That's not Talking Tongue here. Ax, what else have you been up to in life?
Oh, I'm really just vibing. It's just me and Jake hanging out in the apartment. Jake is my adorable 12-year-old cat. My foster cat that I'm taking care of.
No, Ax, you say that
I know
time.
He's my son. I know.
He's your son. He is your cat. I don't care if Jake technically belongs to somebody else. No, you've had Jake for what, years now?
Since August of 2020.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the end of August 2020, and it's been quite a while, and he's gotten quite well acclimated. He's also the chillest cat I have ever met in my life, so he's a pretty good roommate in that sense. Sometimes meows at night, but it's whatever. He's vibing. He's a good boy. He sleeps most of the day, and sometimes he's energetic and chases a laser pointer every now and then. Currently between jobs, and a lot of my days are, looking into new opportunities, playing video games I've missed over the years.
Yes.
And as a New Year's resolution, I'm trying to watch one new movie every day this year.
You're nuts.
No,
what?
I did
one new movie.
I did 100 new movies last year.
Okay,
I just barely made it, and it didn't really. I wanted to do maybe 150 this year or something, but so I started my count. I keep a tally on the whiteboard in my kitchen, and I think it was a few days into the year. I was like, I watched a movie every morning since January 1st. Okay. And now I'm up to 15. I'm ahead. So
X, I know this doesn't seem scalable because once you find a job, you have other things to do in life. The world opens up again. You went from barely being able to watch 100 movies, and now you want to watch over triple that amount.
Yeah, I know. It's stupid. It's ridiculous, but I'm currently having fun. And there's always something new to watch, like whether it's new stuff that's coming out or whether it's a blind spot I've had for years. Like I've never seen. Wait, no, I mean that now it's not true, but I had never seen any of the Terminator movies. I've watched the first one. I watched it about a week ago, and the rest of them, I know that 2 is going to be amazing because it's one of those movies that you just kind of you see bits of on TV as a kid. So I'm looking forward to watching that. And then the other 4, nothing, no idea what's going to happen.
And you're going to watch them. And you're going to watch them.
I might as well.
Yeah, because you gotta. So minimum 1 new movie a day. But if you're feeling spicy, put another one on.
Yes, that's what I like to do with short films as well.
Oh,
cool. It's a lot of the time it's been a new movie with breakfast. And once I do get another 9 to 5, then I'll probably just do it either earlier or afterwards.
Or during.
Or maybe during. Yeah, I can watch a short film on my lunch and that'll count.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
Easy.
I believe in you. I'd love to check in on you with all of this. I guess I've always seen you as a Letterboxd person, which I know you use the app to track movies, see other people's reviews on it and stuff. But are you giving your thoughts on every single movie that you've seen this year, or you're just saying that you've watched them?
No, I'm definitely, I'm not writing full on reviews. Like it's barely paragraphs most of the time. So I'm somewhere between like an honest critical review and like the memes that you see on movie pages, right? Like people will write movie reviews so that their review can go viral and be part of the popular section on Letterboxd. I'm like somewhere between all of that. I'm like, oh yeah, this was sick. I'm looking forward to the next one is essentially what I said about Terminator 1.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Or like I watched Paddington 2 the other day. It made me weep. The ending, I cried.
You've never seen Paddington
before? I had never seen it. Yeah. So
that
was one of my tally. And then basically I said the ending made me weep. It's wonderful. I love that all these British actors are playing it completely seriously. And also Britain peaked in 2017. Nothing better has come from Britain since Paddington 2.
Paddington 3 comes out, which they've been working on for a long while now.
And I'm looking forward to that. Absolutely.
That
it's
is
such a feel-good time.
Joy. Such a joy. That movie we talked about in Talking Tongue before. I keep saying, and I keep pushing this movie on people because I'm like, you should watch Paddington. And they're like, Paddington, it's a kid's movie. It's a whatever. And I'm like, you shut your mouth.
Like, listen, you've seen Toy Story 8 million times. Give this one a try.
This one is so heartwarming. Anyways, I digress here. That's exciting, Ax. That's really cool. I have a really hard time reviewing movies. I've talked about this on Talking Tongue before, where I'm so bad at giving review score to things. Like, even if things are out of 10, out of 5, my gut reaction is always like a 3 out of 5, 7 out of 10, like 6.
Right.
It's just the most like in the middle type of review, and it's so hard for me to go 10 out of 10. But I'm also like always trying to understand the vision of the director and like give like props to like a bunch of different aspects of movies. But I feel really bad to give something like a 4 out of 10 or something, right? So
I definitely understand that. And then you've got those people who just don't rate movies at all. Yeah. Whether they're on Letterboxd or like doing YouTube reviews or something, they just don't review anything. And then you've got, the bigger magazines like Variety doesn't have scores at the end of their reviews. It's just, paragraphs and paragraphs of spoilers. But yeah, like that's totally fine. Like there's a lot of people I follow on Letterboxd who don't add scores. And then on the other side, you've got, I think there's a couple of actors I follow on there who rate everything 5 stars and then give their thoughts. Because it's just like they're watching, a lot of these classics, I guess. But yeah, like the scores or whatever you make of them. I think my main thing, I try not to go back and change my scores a little too much. Like I know my thoughts on a movie will change, but then the score, I think, I try to keep it the same. I think the only time I changed my score was when I watched No Way Home. Yeah, maybe on a rewatch I'll change my score, but yeah.
From higher to lower is what you did?
Yes.
You shut your mouth.
Okay. I'm sorry. It went from a 7 to a 6.
Wow.
I'm
Okay.
the
Well,
biggest Spider-Man fan I know, and it was okay.
Well, I'm probably a bigger Spider-Man fan than you. Okay, wait, we're not fighting. I haven't seen you in so long. I mean, this is a classic Axe Tongue interaction. If you've never heard an episode with us before, we start out like friends, and then we rediscover that we're always enemies.
Yes, and then a fist fight happens. It's like Goku and Vegeta.
And then I go like, Axe, you're never coming back. And then just wait. Lo and behold, he comes back like a few months later. It's like nothing's ever changed. Axe, let's get into the news of the week. I have a couple pop culture headlines that I want to read out to you and just see what your thoughts are. I won't do any Spider-Man ones because you hate Spider-Man so much.
Listen,
I know. We could talk about that off air. So we used to do a weekly Talking Tongue show where I'd be able to be more current to what the news is in the week. But now that the show has moved to a bi-weekly cadence and format, we're a little bit behind. So I have stuff from like a week and a half ago, but I also have stuff from like this week too. So I'm going to start with this one, which is a complete fluff piece, but I love it, which is Nicolas Cage reveals the tragic reason he gave up karaoke.
All right. Oh, I haven't heard this. Okay.
So apparently the 57-year-old karaoke star, I didn't even know he was a karaoke star per se, Nicolas Cage, apparently I'm going to read you his quote. Well, yeah, for me, karaoke was like therapy until someone videotaped my punk rock version of Prince's Purple Rain and it went everywhere. And I said, I'm not going to do karaoke anymore.
Oh, that sucks.
Isn't that sad?
It's unfortunate. I can't relate to, I guess, his fame and, shit going viral. But yeah, it's unfortunate that kind of got in the way of a fun pastime of his, especially since it's karaoke.
Right?
Come on.
I just feel of course, I don't understand that fame either. I like karaoke, but I wouldn't if someone filmed it and I got super embarrassed, I guess I wouldn't. I guess I don't know what I would do.
Well, yeah, like it's not, I guess that's not the way I would see it either, right? Because whenever I have been filmed doing karaoke, I haven't felt embarrassed.
Yeah, because you're like, I fucking crushed it.
No, I feel empowered. I nailed that shit. Please tell your friends.
Yeah, well, of course, I mean, you're from a musical theater background, so you love singing in general. I'm sure you're singing in your apartment all the time.
It's a good time. Jake hates it.
You must miss karaoke quite a bit, I assume.
Yes, totally. Like I've been to a couple, between all the steps and stuff opening up and closing down. I've been to a couple of karaoke nights and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm looking forward to things getting back to a little more normalcy so that I can go over to the Lookout and belt it.
Yeah, we will see. I guess we will see. My next news story for you is there was a new Bel-Air trailer that dropped the other day. And for people who don't know, it's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air remake, spiritual remake. It is Will Smith is a producer. He's heavily involved in it. It is a much darker tone than the original. I would love to hear your thoughts, Axe, because I know you're a huge Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fan. We did a podcast on it where we nominated Uncle Phil. I think Uncle Phil won.
Oh yeah, he's the
only
TV dad that matters.
Yes, right. And now we have this new thing, which I don't know what to make of it. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I did not like it. I don't know, like it. It didn't hit right. Like this I guess this reimagining, this darker tone. Maybe it's because I just watched the season premiere, but it felt like Fresh Prince by way of Euphoria, and it didn't do either very well. Because I think one of the keys to Fresh Prince was Will Smith's charisma.
Right. And wait, is it out? Is it fully out, or is it?
No. I was talking.
You're basing on the trailer.
Yeah. I was just talking about the trailer. Like I might be wrong in the end, but yeah, I one of the keys is Will Smith's charisma, which is not present in this new actor. Like, he's fine and everyone else is fine, sure, but yeah, like I think what made Fresh Prince succeed, especially as a sitcom, was Will Smith like, trying his best to steal the show in every scene.
Sure.
So like, and like I understand the idea of making it a reimagining of an inner city kid who moves to Bel Air. Fine, for sure. That I'm sure that's a cool story by itself. But I don't know. Like I do you even need to relate that to Will Smith, like to
Mhm.
Fresh Prince? I don't know. So I'm iffy on it. I'm probably gonna check it out once it hits.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I'm not confident.
My thing with watching that trailer was that the most interesting part of that trailer was just seeing which actor was playing which character role. So it'd be
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, that's Uncle Phil. That's weird. He doesn't look anything like what I think Uncle Phil looks like. Of course it doesn't.
Right.
And then you have this Carlton character that doesn't look like anything like Alfonso. You know what I mean? Like it's all these like
Yeah.
I'm just comparing it to the original, which I guess I shouldn't.
Right. Yeah. Like the looks I guess aren't as important so much as the way the characters are presented. I guess
That's the
might be a weird way of
problem
putting it.
with this Bel Air. Well, I shouldn't say like, again. I'm just basing this on the trailer and from the
Mm-hmm.
synopsis of this thing. Is I don't know if it's if they had any benefit of calling it Bel Air. I feel like if it was something called something different with different character names, I'd
Mm-hmm.
be pretty invested in what they're trying to tell. About a kid who's from somewhere else, had a lot of trouble growing up, and like going into like Bel Air and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
being integrated into his family and trying to like navigate the world and stuff. But this darker tone compared to the original Fresh Prince, which is a comedy. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just a sitcom, right? Of course, Fresh Prince, the original one, had like its heartfelt moments,
Yeah, emotional
and
beats for sure.
there was a few dark kind of things that would happen, and like but like huge emotional beats that would happen just peppered throughout the show. But by and large, it was a comedy show, where this
Yeah.
seemed like it's the opposite. I did not see any comedy to be found in this trailer.
Mm-hmm. And it might be, yeah, it might be a little more subtle, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't hit. The trailer doesn't hit, but we'll see how the
we
rest of it does.
We'll see. Next news
Fingers
story is Ben
crossed.
Affleck says Matt Damon helped him quit Batman. Now, I'm not sure if you
Interesting.
knew this, but Ben Affleck recently was talking lots of shit about how he would never, ever play Batman again after the Flash
Interesting.
movie.
Okay.
And it's because he had a really shitty experience, awful things that happened on the set and around Justice League.
Really.
And he was quoting like just how the fandom just completely kind of like broke him down, kind of thing, where they were like, you're not good enough to play Batman,
Yeah.
all this other stuff.
That's
And we get that a
yeah.
lot with like every actor who's about to play a big role. Like Heath Ledger, for example, got the exact same hate.
Yeah, like that's what comic book fans do.
They're
And
the
it's
worst.
it's it's the same for a lot of other fandoms. But yeah, if comic book fans don't like something, they're going to make themselves known, and it's a problem. It really sucks. Like, everyone has their own opinions about these people when they play
Mhm.
characters, or the way that the movies are done based on the comic books. But yeah, that shouldn't spill over to an actor, or at least it shouldn't get personal, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's unfortunate that Affleck is stepping away, because there's always going to be a Batman on the big screen at this point. But
Yeah.
it sucks that he went out that way. It was just not cool.
Yeah. Especially because like he was like the original The Batman was
Mm-hmm.
written by him. He was trying to get that on screen. He wanted to play the Batman, all this other stuff. And it sucks
Yeah.
that he's such a big nerd and huge Batman lover. Now he's just like completely just the fans broke him. And I'm like, I feel bad. Like I don't love Ben Affleck's Batman, not because of him, but mostly how it's written. Like I don't love this Batman that uses guns as his main
Yeah.
tools and
Right.
like he kills people. I'm like, well,
You had
Batman
one
wouldn't do
rule. You
that.
had one rule, sir.
Yeah, Batman wouldn't do that. And even if he did,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know. Like, I feel like there's more interesting things you can do with his weapons than using a gun, like.
Yeah.
But I don't blame Ben Affleck for that. I blame Zack Snyder for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Justice League was a whole friggin' thing. Did
It's
you
a whole
watch
thing.
the Snyder cut?
I did watch the Snyder cut. It
What
was
did you
slightly better.
think?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But
Slightly. I can't believe I mean, 4 hours. My God, I can't believe I watched the whole thing.
in
But
one sitting?
yeah,
Okay, yeah, that's messed up.
ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, it was marginally better. The story made more sense,
Hmm.
which I was happy for. But like, as you know, as an avid defender of the 90-minute movie, why did that take so long? Why? Why? I could have
Well,
watched two
it
films.
because the way it was set up was it was not like the Avengers film, which was
Mhm.
like every hero got its own origin story before they did the Avengers. Smart move. Very like it sounds like a teenager could have thought of that. Yes, give everyone their own origin story, then we do the team up movie. Justice
Yeah.
League was like we did two kind of origin stories, and now we're gonna have to do it all in this one movie.
No, okay, boom, let's do the thing. Yeah, I mean, it feels like the Marvel machine kind of perfected the formula, and now everyone's chasing that dragon.
Yeah.
And like how I guess how Marvel Studios has changed the game in terms of blockbuster action
Hmm.
is not really something that can be ignored. And that's both fortunate and unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, here we go. Tom Holland's pitch for a young 007 movie turned into Uncharted.
uh,
Uh, I don't know if you saw the poster for Uncharted that released recently. If not, do a quick Google. It looks bad. Like
yeah,
the
I
poster
saw.
looks bad.
Yep.
The movie looks bad.
It looks like any other random movie that is going to come on late at night on TBS for people to watch in a couple of years. Like, yeah, it looks nothing like the Uncharted that everyone has played. At least I don't think it does.
I don't think so either. Although they do take a sequence from it that they've been like
Yeah, the
marketing.
plane sequence is really cool in the trailer. I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I hope that if this does end up taking off, or if they do another one, I hope to see, more cool shit like that again. It's just that I don't know. It seems like from the get-go some bad ideas were used.
It's insane. We've talked about this movie before on Talking Tongue, but the
Mhm.
idea that this cinematic video game that basically writes itself for the big screen.
It's a movie.
Yeah.
It's literally a bunch of Indiana Jones movies
How are you
that
fucking
you can
this up?
play with the controller.
It's crazy. Anyways, thank you. Every guest that I talk to about this have not played the Uncharted games, and I'm like, you don't
Really?
understand. They're not capturing what's good about this.
Yeah, no, the cutscenes are basically scenes straight out of movies. It's cool when people do mocap and voice acting at the same time because that's what happens. You get really cool scenes that are acted out really well, and then they transition into some random shooting gallery. And that's
right.
fun.
That's
And
fine, right?
I guess when you take that out and you put in Mark Wahlberg, I don't think it's a good call.
I'll be honest. There was a time where I really, really liked Mark Wahlberg as an actor. Not I dislike him now. It's just there was a time where I'm like, Mark Wahlberg, I'm in. That was like in the Fighter days when he was in that movie with Christian Bale. Like that movie ruled.
Yeah, it was really good. But yeah, it's been kind of downhill since then.
It's kind of been downhill.
Lots of Peter Berg and Michael Bay and
yeah.
Why? And now he's Sully. I just no. Did you see, like, you've seen that short that Nathan Fillion did, right?
Yes, so good.
Nathan Fillion, Stephen Lang, like that was Uncharted, bro. Like that's what people wanted. But
that was a fan trailer or short film too, and it was so
and
good.
It was fantastic. I need to watch that again.
I'd recommend if you're looking for like a good adaptation of a video game, and like I think it's like a 10-minute short or something. It's very easy to digest. They do it so well. This fan, like they should have got those people to do this movie. That's it.
Yeah, like I know that the guy who played Sully in the short, Stephen Lang, like I think he put his name out there for it after the short came out, and I would have loved to see it.
I feel bad for Stephen Lang. He's done that a few times now, where he's just like, I want to play this character, and everyone's like, that would be good, and then they don't pick him. Like he wanted to play Cable for a while, in Deadpool, and I'd be like, he make a good Cable. They got Josh Brolin, who did a good job, but like, you could have got Stephen Lang. He's right there.
It could have been sick, but sure, fine.
Yeah. Okay. a few more news stories here. Again,
Yeah.
I'm glossing over the Spider-Man ones, but I don't want to talk about it. You're going to open a
I
can of
mean,
worms.
if you have them, you have them. That's
Nope,
fine.
nope, nope.
Okay.
I refuse.
I like
Just
talking Spider-Man. It's
I
just,
know
you
you
know,
do. You're going to open a can of worms. I don't want to do it. I love Spider-Man. I'm just going to say that here. Okay,
uh-huh.
here it is. Kirby in the Forgotten Land is a new Kirby game that is being released for the Nintendo Switch. Come out very, very soon. It looks like Mario Odyssey mixed with Kirby.
Yeah.
Have you seen the trailer for this thing?
Yeah, it looks really interesting. I mean, yeah, Odyssey's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like, it seemed like a natural evolution for a lot of the Mario games. It's like, every good part of Galaxy and Galaxy 2, but blown up to bigger proportions. So to do that, I think with Kirby is, I mean, a good way for people like me who didn't really grow up playing the Kirby games to maybe get to know the character a little better than just Smash.
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, I know of all these Kirby games in my head, but I haven't really played many of them.
Because they're all just mediocre. Like
Yeah.
there's like two good Kirby games.
Yeah.
Kirby Superstar for the SNES and Kirby 64, which I don't
Right.
even know if holds up anymore.
I think played Air Ride on GameCube, I think was. That was a good time.
Kirby has been consistently putting out games, like even for the Switch. There's been like a Smash Bros. Kirby game that came out. That's just
I think
Kirby.
I think it's just because, like, I mean, it's a platformer from Nintendo, but Mario's kind of got that shit on lock, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people like the 3D open world platformer model. So I think, yeah, it was, it's a good natural evolution
I'm excited.
To a Kirby platformer. Yeah, like it looks really cool. I'm definitely going to give it a shot.
Okay, Ax, so time. There's a big question here. The reason why I brought it up is Kirby has the ability to suck in, don't make it sexual, everyone at home. This is just his powers. Kirby has a big mouth, sucks in enemies, swallows them, and then gains their powers.
Yeah.
So, Ax, if Kirby was to suck you...
if Kirby gave me the suck, what would he gain?
Yeah, what would he gain?
Shit. Okay. God, good question. I don't know. A bit more height. He'd be able to reach the cookie jar.
Yeah.
Natural singing ability.
Great.
Shit, what else? He'd be really good at rhythm games.
Amazing.
He'd crush a Dark Souls game. That kind of stuff. He'd have more of an affinity for RPGs.
Wow. All right.
He'd have more of an affinity for cats.
So would he get affinity for cats? Would he get taller and would he get your skin tone as well? Does Kirby go from pink to, because there's been precedent for a black Kirby.
Right. Yeah, but like that's a palette swap. Right. And like if I don't know, if Kirby sucked me in and became brown, I might have a problem. I might have a bit of a problem.
Don't put that on Kirby. I assume if Kirby sucked me. Okay. I was like, does Kirby turn Asian when Kirby sucks me? Yeah.
Exactly.
I wonder.
It doesn't, I don't know.
I'm just saying because like one of the things is Kirby doesn't just get your abilities, but he gets like a key like feature of like the enemy he sucks, right? So like if he sucks like, I don't know, the sword guy, he gets a sword. If he sucks like someone with a cool hat, he gets the hat. There is precedent that he transforms a little bit into what that person looks like.
Okay, so would it be like a buzz cut, glasses, and a beard?
There you go. That's what it is. Okay, he doesn't have to turn black. He can just get your like facial hair and glasses. Okay, I'm okay with that.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think it'll look good on him.
I think so too. I think they already did that in Smash. The last news story I have here, which is a sad one, I don't want to dwell on it because it's happened a few days ago, and I know it's not my favorite thing to bring up, is the death of somebody, but Bob Saget passed away very recently at 65 years old. I don't think they found out how or why or like what happened.
So from what I know, he had a good show, I think the day before, and died in his sleep like the next night. So I think what was said is that it was like some kind of heart attack or something. He went pretty peacefully and was found dead the next morning.
Yeah, that is very
Cool,
sad.
right?
Yeah,
It's unfortunate, but
it's
like,
yeah.
not a bad way to go.
Actually, I think even because after we recorded the last Talking Tongue, like Betty
Mm.
White died. Who else died? There was like a few people who died in the last few weeks.
Yes, it's gotten, yeah, it's been kind of heavy,
Yes,
unfortunately.
it's been not great. Did you watch Full House growing up?
Not at all. Like I
Not at
knew
all.
Bob Saget. No, I knew Bob Saget from like guest appearances I'd seen him in.
Hmm.
America's Funniest Home Videos. I think he was on that too.
Hmm.
But that was kind of it. Otherwise, I kind of just, yeah, I knew of him.
Right.
I knew he was an icon, but I wasn't the most knowledgeable.
Right. Okay. Okay. I saw him at Blues Fest, which is
Oh, sick.
blues festival that happens in Ottawa, which is got so far away from the blues.
Yeah, it's just a music
It's
festival,
just a
I
music
guess.
festival, and Bob Saget does not sing, or at least he
Mhm.
didn't in the show. It was really weird. It was like Bob Saget live, and I'm like, okay. And he had like a 6 p.m. slot on a
Mhm.
weekend or whatever it was. And I'm like, what's Bob Saget gonna do? And it was just one of his stand-up shows at Blues Fest. And that was
Cool.
like, it
That's
was cool.
fine.
Yeah. And I was like listening to him because at the time I didn't know what's up. Like,
Mhm.
but yeah, he's a raunchy dude. He's filthy.
Yeah,
Saying a
he doesn't
bunch of
give a
stuff.
fuck.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure. I remember, like, I think it was a few years ago, but he was also on Hot Ones, the YouTube show,
Hmm.
and that was a hell of a time as well. It was, yeah, it's really fun to just hear him, chat shit about stuff. Like, he seemed
Yes,
like a really cool, down to earth kind of guy.
he did. He did.
Yeah, I know he'll be terribly missed in the scene.
But it doesn't matter if we all live in a simulation.
Okay, Tug.
Okay. All right, let's talk about it. We have a little bit of time.
Oh,
Ax, I
hilarious.
want you to set up what movie we're watching today or what movie we
Okay.
did watch. And
Yes.
afterwards, maybe give me a little rundown of what the movie is.
Okay. So we are watching If You're Me, the long-awaited sequel to a classic science fiction franchise about a man who starts to question his existence and his reality. Obviously, I'm talking about The Matrix, and not Star Wars. Uh,
Time to fly.
If you want the truth, Neo, you're going to have to follow me.
The only thing that matters to you is still here. I know it's why you're still fighting and why you will never give up. You don't know me, no?
yeah, so the Matrix Resurrections came out in December of 2021, and it is at the same time a sequel, a remake, a reboot, an indictment of all three of those things.
Mhm.
But it is mainly about Neo and Trinity trying to once again free themselves from the Matrix, I guess is
Yes.
the easiest way to put it.
Right. And we will get into some spoilers today. So, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll leave it vague for now. And when we get to it, we'll get to it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into our thoughts of today's movie, Matrix Resurrections, I'm very curious as to, you already kind of alluded to this, but you love the Matrix, it sounds like, the original Matrix.
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
The Matrix 1 is like one of my favorite movies of all time. I could recite the thing from memory.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right now?
like it. Honestly, no, stop.
Yeah.
It like I remember the first time I watched it. I don't think it was 1999 because I was only 7 at the time. It was later on, but it was one of the first movies to really make me think
Mhm.
in a cool way. Like it got me interested in sci-fi in the same way that Star Wars got a lot of people interested in sci-fi, and it also got me interested in in existentialism. Like, what if we do live in a simulation and all that
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
And I loved the action of it. I loved the writing. I loved how everything just looked just a little bit different in the Matrix's version of reality, and about how all of that was kind of exploited for the main character's gain. Like it gave me a lot of really cool ideas about movies and about life. And then I watched the sequels, and I think at the time I didn't like them as much, but I revisited them recently, like before Resurrections came out, and they've definitely got their merits. Like both Reloaded and Revolutions are still a good time, especially if you're like a stan like me.
Right.
Just the new characters that are introduced, the way they push the action envelope was really cool. Like some of the coolest action scenes in the franchise are in both the second and third, right? And I think that was a lot of fun.
What about the Animatrix for you?
Ooh, yes. Yeah, like that was, I mean, it was handled completely differently, but I'm a lore fiend. If there's a story to be had in your game then I am paying attention 100%. So I liked that the Animatrix was about some completely different people. And I liked how connected it was to the franchise as a whole. Like it, just like the originals, it gave me just more ideas and more shit to chew on when it came to the Matrix. I remember the short Final Flight of the Osiris. I liked how that just connected the first and second movies. Kid's story, when that dude Kid shows up in the second movie, you don't really know who he is, but there's an Animatrix short that shows how Neo freed him. And I thought that was really interesting because he's really just a side character, right? He's a side character who is like, this private, basically, who fights in the war at the end of Revolutions and kind of, saves the day. But it was really cool to get that background on him. And there was a couple other shorts that explained how the machines came to be. Because you got Morpheus at the beginning explaining to Neo how the world was united in celebration as they gave birth to AI. Oh my God. And then you can put the shorts like right in the middle of his speech. Because that shows how the machines evolved from there and started, thinking for themselves and creating their own city. And then the war happened. So I really like the Animatrix for those kinds of concepts.
Right. So the Matrix is an interesting thing to talk about because I think it's studied. I know because I took philosophy in university and even in high school and stuff. Stoner kids and weed and all this other. The things that you talk about when you're young, like when you think you're smart and you're like, let's talk about life and existentialism and things like that. What's real, what's not. That is I think just a thing that people think about a lot in their adolescence, but also, I continue to this day for sure. Maybe not as much as I used to think about that stuff, but it is studying philosophy because it brings up interesting points. And I remember us having to watch the original Matrix because of that. And then we watched the Matrix 2 for a different reason, which was like they built half a highway for the action scenes, which is really cool.
Crazy set design.
That's crazy that they did that. They would never do that again because you can just CG all and do a bunch of different stuff to cheat your way of not having to build a whole highway.
I don't know. I mean, you've seen Fury Road.
That's true. But
practical, some directors don't give a fuck.
I love the practical stuff, but that's different. Like, Fury Road is a very special exception to that kind of thing, right? Who else is crazy enough to do that, right? At these
for
this
sure
day and age, right?
I get that totally.
Only George Miller. So
only George Miller.
So for myself, like my attachment to the Matrix is that I really like the first one. I did not revisit it for Matrix Resurrections. I meant to, but the timing didn't work out because basically I wanted to watch it a week from when I planned to. And then I looked at like the news and it was like, hey, your theaters are closing the next day. If you don't see it by tomorrow, you're not seeing this movie because there's a lockdown happening in Ontario. And I'm like, well, guess I'm not watching the original Matrix. So that was not ideal, but I did see like a matinee and there was only one other person in the theater, which was great. I had the whole theater to myself, essentially.
Nice.
Yes, had the best seat possible in the theater. And the other person had the most like not best seat in the theater. I'm like, dude, there's only two of us. You can sit anywhere.
Right?
Like I sat in the third row all the way to the left.
That's so weird. That's odd. What
I couldn't think.
Two terrible things to do with a seat.
Yeah. I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, you're not even like, I couldn't even think. I'm like, you're not in like the accessibility like row right now. So I don't think it's that. I just think you chose that spot. And that's just weird to me.
Odd.
Anyways, where was I? Oh, and then the second movie, I didn't have big of attachment to. I don't even remember what happens besides the highway chase. And the third movie I never watched. I love Animatrix. But to me, like I always felt like the larger lore of the Matrix was not really my jam.
Okay.
I never really thought that the octopus squid-like machines that live outside of the Matrix was that like my favorite part of the Matrix. You know, I always loved what the concept was, which is like, are we living in simulation? That kind of stuff. That stuff's fine.
Right.
But like the machines ruling the world and all that other, the greater war kind of thing. It's like, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Anyways, they bring that kind of back for Matrix Resurrections, right?
Yes. Yeah, basically.
So,
which I mean, I'm a fan. But
they should. I mean, they should. Like they've already established it. There's a lot of shots in the Matrix Resurrections that reuse shots from the original movies, the original trilogy. And as someone who has not really revisited in a while, I think they show you just enough to like, you know, so you don't have to watch those other movies. They just give you like those snippets, right? And those work for me. Okay, so with Matrix Resurrections, let's start with, did you like this film?
Yes, I had a great time. Like I watch it again and I find more and more things to like about it. Like my pros list is much longer than my cons list. Wow. I guess I will say. Yeah, like it was so many things, and then at the end it was really just a love story between Neo and Trinity. And I loved all of that. I loved how stupidly subversive the script was. I love how much of a fuck you it was to, you know, Warner Brothers executives, the way that Lana Wachowski wrote it.
Yes, because I love with this movie, it's just Lana who wrote it, and did she direct it too? I can't remember.
Yes,
she did. Okay, because the original was the Wachowskis, like they were involved in all of that, but not this one. Yeah, I'm
not sure how much Lily Wachowski was involved. I forgot to look that up, but yeah, like the way I love that she wrote it so that Jonathan Groff basically says what she was told, apparently. Like when he mentions that Warner Brothers said that, okay, we're making a new Matrix game with or without you, Neo. Is that really what they said to her? And then she decided to write this meta shit to flip them all off. Oh, I love it. I love it. Brilliant.
Right. Okay. So I'll give my thoughts on it too, and then maybe we'll get deeper into it. This movie has a very polarizing, it's like a mixed bag. You either love it or you hate it, or kind of thing. Like I've seen a lot of different opinions on the internet. Yeah. It's a hard one, I think, to really nail down. For myself, I would say I did not enjoy it that much.
Okay.
So we have polarizing opinions on this, but I didn't hate it. So with this movie in particular, we have it's a big meta commentary on sequels. And there's a lot of conversations and dialogue that's based on that, right? Like you have people in boardrooms that are essentially the equivalent to winking at the camera, being like, yeah, sequels are stupid, but you know, we're doing it anyways.
This is how we treated the Matrix franchise. This is how society is kind of treating the movies. This is how society kind of is. Yeah, it's a lot of that.
Yes. And the way they like the current world of the Matrix they're currently living in, with Neo being, I forget his like other persona's name,
Thomas Anderson.
Like Thomas Anderson created the Matrix video game, which is based on the Matrix
original trilogy, which is also, you know, his life as he lived it.
That's right. And then,
so cool.
and everyone's opinions about the original movies have entered the script of this movie.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Groff is, oh yeah, you're right. Jonathan Groff's just saying is basically to your face, and Keanu Reeves is just kind of reacting to it, giving a very Keanu Reeves type of performance on it.
Yes, and then all of that. It's all of that, and then you've also got Neil Patrick Harris later on,
Yes,
who
yes.
I think is my favorite part of the movie, because the analyst is a capitalist AI Ben Shapiro type, right, on purpose.
Yes.
And I like the scene where he uses bullet time, where he explains that he's taken advantage of the lives that Neo and Trinity lived in order to make his version of the Matrix better and please his superiors.
Yeah. So,
come on, it's like my mind was blown, and I was also laughing my ass off.
I have to say, with this movie, I think there's a lot of interesting ideas, like the one that you just mentioned there. Like they pose a lot of modern questions about how we view the Matrix in general and how we view society, and there's a lot of things that they pose as questions. For me, I don't think they actually landed on any of those like promises that they put out or questions, right, but maybe it's because they are ultimately just questions, just like the original movie. You're not supposed to have a full answer to them, but for this movie it felt like they were trying to give some answers to, and it didn't land for me there. I did like that bullet time stuff, but I'd love to hear your opinion on the action scenes in this movie. I felt they were kind of messy, but I'd love to hear your opinion on them.
I also thought the action was pretty messy, but I thought that was like the point. Like I might be wrong. Maybe that's not the way that they played it, but the action wasn't great, but everything else, like, or at least the dialogue and the writing were, I think, given special attention. But the action wasn't great because it didn't really need to be. Neo and Trinity don't hold a gun once. Like, sure, Neo fights Morpheus, which we'll get to Morpheus later.
Yes,
definitely. Neo fights Morpheus, and then Smith kicks his ass. I love that fight scene. That's like the exception, I think. And then right at the end, but mostly him and Trinity do that, that crazy psychic force stuff.
Yes, I
think that was kind of I like to think that was kind of the point, to make the action not great because the wire fu was such a big part of the original trilogy. Like, right, the absence of the amazing fight choreo is definitely felt, but I think it was also kind of an in-joke. That
interesting. I did not get that from this, but I that's an interesting perspective. I just thought it was not impressive for
right. Like I might be wrong. It might just be like, that was fine. It wasn't great for a big budget blockbuster.
And there's so many scenes in this movie where the spoilers, I mean, we kind of talked about, but Neo stops bullets with his psychic force thing, whatever. And it just doesn't look as impressive, I guess. Like he's just kind of holding his arms with a hunched back, and it just looks kind of pathetic, but he's older now. So like, it's fine.
Exactly.
It just doesn't
He's not the same dude.
He's not the same dude, which is kind of like, they point that out quite a lot in this movie. It's like Neo maybe isn't the one like anymore, or like he is more
it's been 60 years since he died apparently the last time. Movie. So he died, and then NPH had him rebuilt along with Trinity, and
just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous premise.
The machines can do that, and then you've got the later the other machines that kind of look organic, and it's also the same thing with Bugs's ship. Like you've got I love the whole biomechanical aspect, how it kind of evolved into that. Like one aspect that I like is the way that the real world evolved after everything that happened. That was cool. But God, I've lost my train of thought. I just like the movie, and I've had a lot of coffee.
I know you did. This movie's just good. I'm not trying to convince you that it's a bad movie. I'd like this conversation. That it's why did you like it? Why did I not like it? But Neo feels different in this movie, and they actually make a point about it earlier, where they say if you're expecting the same stuff from the original movies, then we got some news for you, because it's not going to be that. They say something like effectively like that how this movie, this resurrection of Matrix, is going to be different. And it is. To its credit, it's different. Very meta.
Yeah, for sure. And there's so many little clever lines in the movie that are like clever and on the nose. And if you've watched the movies as much as I have, or if you're trying to be in on the joke, then you're gonna go, oh, haha, cool.
Right.
Just keep going. Like one of the lines that Jude says in the coffee shop, because he's a handler program, and he says, oh, I'm a geek, I was raised by machines. Get it? He's a program. Or basically anything that Morpheus says, shit like that. That's just really, really small and fun and clever. That was a lot of fun things that I picked up on.
Let's talk about some of these newer characters that you just mentioned here. Let's go ahead and talk about Morpheus, because there is a lot of missing, not a lot, but there's two huge characters that are missing from this movie that are replaced with different actors who are playing those same roles, sort of. Yeah. Like they're sort of playing those same roles.
Yeah. And like I explained the new Morpheus to a friend of mine because he didn't get it. He was like, how the fuck? Wait, why is he back but also not back? So
yeah, go ahead, explain it to us. Cool. You have a second chance to explain it to someone.
So Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, he's good. I mean, Lawrence Fishburne's absence is definitely felt, but essentially what I said was that Neo, while he was asleep in his pod, and in the Matrix, Thomas Anderson wrote this modal, right? The small simulation that showed Trinity again. And Bugs mentioned that modals are used to evolve programs, like for programs to practice. Thomas wrote this modal that included an AI that eventually evolved to believe that it was Morpheus. He wrote a sentient AI in his sleep. He wrote his way out. Hilariously.
Wrote your way out. Okay.
Like, I love that idea. I love how, or I mean, I guess I love that idea was used to kind of circumvent not having Lawrence Fishburne just come back in, right? Like instead, sure, Neo wrote a sentient AI that ended up believing that it was Morpheus and got freed, just like any other human.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool idea. I thought it was, again, really clever, and a good way to incorporate Morpheus into a new story.
Right. And he's quite a different type of Morpheus too. Like,
did you see his outfits? Goddamn.
Yeah, he's much more stylized and like funny, I guess, than Lawrence Fishburne. Like
it seemed like Morpheus year one, like because he just freed. Yeah, like basically, it seemed like Morpheus, but just freed. Or just figuring out that was his lot in life, was to find the one.
Right.
Which, it was cool to deal with. And I mean, I guess it justified him being younger as opposed to just, this is a new actor playing Morpheus. So,
it works for the context of the story. Yeah. I assume that they couldn't get Lawrence Fishburne, and Lana was like, okay, well, what do we do here?
Maybe
we need a Morpheus in this movie. We need a Morpheus as much as we need an Agent Smith. And so we have Jonathan Groff, who replaces the Hugo Weaving character, which I also very missed from the, he does a great job. Jonathan Groff, I really like him. Huge musical theater nerd. But he does a really great job in this movie for being the, I guess, one of the antagonists. There's a few. Yeah,
right. There's a few, but I loved his presence. I love when he kind of imitated Weaving's version of Smith. I thought that was cool. And like when he kind of wakes up during that big shootout in the office and yells, "Mr. Anderson!" I thought that was sick. I thought it was awesome. The fight scene that he has in that dingy basement, I thought had some really cool callbacks to the bathroom fight scene that he had with Morpheus in the first Matrix movie.
Okay.
I love that the soundtrack kind of reflected that too. Like you've got those weird kind of string noises that were in the original soundtrack come back in this one too. I thought Groff Sauce had it definitely looked like he was having a really good time.
Yeah. And also, he always looks like he's having a good time though.
Yes. And on my newest rewatch, I love seeing like the sets, because in his office he has a bust of Hugo Weaving getting punched in the face. Like the
Oh,
fucking,
I didn't notice that.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I just thought it was really funny. It's really just in the background and irrelevant, but it was funny.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
I did like him too. Let's talk about Jessica Henwick, who I really like as an actress. She
Mhm.
is an actress that I've noticed since I think it was like she played a small part in Game of Thrones. She
Yeah.
was in Iron Fist, and that show sucks, but she's the best part of Iron Fist.
Yeah.
And that showed me that she knows that she's committed to fighting. Like she wants
Yeah.
to do her own stunts, and she's very talented. And she's also in Love and Monsters, which is
Right.
a
Yeah.
Netflix movie that is very, very good. I recommend checking it out. She's very talented. So when I heard she was in this, I was really pumped because I'm like, yes, I want the best for this person. She seems like she's just putting in the work to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
For
And
sure.
this character's a completely new character. I love the hair. She just looks badass. She has a couple cool action sequences herself in a movie where I thought the action was weak, where she's like running up walls and like doing shooting in the side and like jumping over cars and stuff like that.
Yeah, her escaping the modal was really cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that part near the beginning. Yeah, I mean, I liked her role in it because I guess of how different it was. Or like she was weird, like Morpheus was here, but she was kind of the Morpheus of the movie. Right.
Yeah,
if we're going,
right.
if we're going with the regular lore of it, she was like, she's the one who was working to free Neo, and she is the rebellious captain type. And Niobe hates her for that, but it's fine.
Yeah. Niobe played by Jada Pinkett Smith over there.
Yes, I love that she came back for it. I thought that was really cool. Like I really did like Bugs as a character, and I also like the special effects around everything that she did. I thought was really cool. Like her jumping cars looked sick. The portals I thought looked really cool, instead of phone booths and shit.
Yeah.
I thought that was all really nice and clever stuff. And I think she like worked with it really well.
Right. I really enjoyed the stuff, or I like the stuff in the Matrix more than I like the stuff outside the Matrix. Anytime they step outside the Matrix, I'm like, get back in there. You can do some cool shit in there. Let Neo do some kung fu in there or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, yes, Bugs was awesome. I do think like her character as the movie progresses, I feel like she's less important because I mean, I guess she's used as a setup for Neo and Trinity. Yeah. And then once
basically
you get those two in play, it's like Bugs starts taking a back seat as to what's actually happening.
Which I guess is, one of the important story beats, like because it's so much about Neo and Trinity and how every time they get together and their minds are free, shit is fucked up and the analyst has to start over again, is what he explained.
It's such a weird movie in that way where it's just like, okay, well, we didn't have to revive Neo and Trinity, but it's important that we do, because if they're alive and near each other, but not too close to each other, then this simulation works better and I get more out of this. But
that's what he said, basically. He said, the simulation works better. And in the way fucking Ben Shapiro said, facts don't care about your feelings, but that's not true because your feelings are literally all that matter. If we treat you badly, you produce more energy. Amazing. Let's make it happen. Yeah. And that's what's worked to turn them into like the two most powerful batteries on the robot farm.
That's effectively what they are and what the Matrix is, which I as someone who kind of forgot all of that part of the Matrix, I'm like, what the fuck? The batteries are in like this weird thing, naked in these tubes. What's happening here?
One fun detail is that a couple of times the word copper top comes up, and like I only just realized, even though at one point in the Matrix 1, Switch says copper top. Like I think they're in the car at the beginning, and she's like, listen up, copper top. I thought it was just a reference to Neo's brown hair, but a copper top is also a Duracell battery.
Oh.
I was like, oh my God, that's so true. They're called copper tops because they're batteries. I felt hilarious. Real dumb. Like, I'm sure that joke is 20 years old.
I want to talk about one more character, which we've talked about a little bit, but
Mhm.
Carrie Ann Moss, who plays
Yes.
Trinity. They keep talking about Trinity in this movie, and it takes so long to get to her in the movie. Like, you see like her as interacting as like just a regular human in the Matrix, not knowing who she is. And
Mhm.
at the very, very, very end, she gets to have like an action sequence. And spoilers, she learns to fly, which is pretty cool. But
Yeah.
I wish there was more Trinity in this movie. God damn it! Like, I really wanted like. And when I picture Trinity,
That's
she's like
fair.
slinging guns, or like she's on her motorcycle and she gets to do a little bit of the motorcycle stuff.
Yes.
But it's more talking about Trinity rather than showing us Trinity. And that was where my problem was.
But like, I think that plays into how the movie is less about the action and more about the dialogue. Because a lot of the stuff involving Trinity, or like a lot of the stuff involving Neo and Trinity, also speaks to how the franchise is a trans allegory.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, before the Wachowskis said that, I had no idea. That's not my lived experience. But then they really kind of put that front and center, especially in one of the coffee shop scenes where Trinity looks up the game, shows footage of Trinity to her, or like shows footage of the game Trinity to her husband, Chad, and is like, doesn't that look like me? And, you know, that whole line about her hating herself for laughing along with her husband who didn't believe her.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that and I was like, oh, okay, shit. Anyone who has ever questioned their gender identity or their sexual identity, that has to be the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
For them. Like, it's on the nose from my perspective as a cis man, but I love that she represented a lot of that.
Yes.
Along with her relationship to Neo.
That's interesting.
Because the movie was more about the dialogue.
Right. I didn't realize that was the trans stuff. I never put that together for the Matrix. So
right, like yeah. Of course, it's about how Tiffany thinks that she's like thinks that she's so much like Trinity.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also kind of a reference to the Matrix being a trans allegory this entire time.
I guess I just wanted more Carrie Ann Moss because I think she's such a good actress.
She's a badass. So cool.
She's such a badass.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, there was not enough badass Carrie Ann Moss in this. Or in general, there was just not enough Carrie Ann Moss in this. Like, even as like a regular, like she has that coffee shop scene, but she doesn't get much else. It is very much centered around Keanu Reeves and Bugs, right?
Yes,
so,
for sure. Yeah, I get that. I get that totally. I would have loved to see some more stuff. It makes sense. It makes sense that she was in some of the, the quieter scenes, but also the Trinity that we all know is a bad bitch. So.
Yeah. And you see that at the very, very, very end of the movie where her and Neo like come up to Neil Patrick Harris and they're in their classic fucking cape-like stuff with their sunglasses and they look badass as shit. And I'm like, I want to see that movie. Like I know we might get there one day and that's fine. The story that they told here, I understood it. It wasn't my favorite, but I understood it. But it made me more excited for Matrix 5 than it was for Matrix 4.
Do you think we're going to get a Matrix 5? Because I think this whole meta commentary on sequels and reboots and remakes was kind of Lana's final final statement on the matter. It's like, okay, you wanted another Matrix. I'm going to make this sick love story, but also shut the fuck up. Like, shut the fuck up, leave me alone.
I don't know what a Matrix 5 even looks like, to be honest. And even though they left it open for that, I don't necessarily think I want it unless it was like a short film showing that Neo and, Trinity kicking ass. It was just
what you really want is an Animatrix sequel. More lore.
Okay. One more shout out to Neil Patrick Harris, who does a fantastic job in this movie. For someone who, I think you might have tweeted this, Axe, so it's not an original thought, but like people don't know how to use Neil Patrick Harris in movies and things very often, or they put him in like very quirky roles and stuff like that. But here he's like therapist role. He does very well in that. And then his evil turn is very good.
It's so good. I swear the bullet time scene is my favorite. He's really good as the the calm cis white therapist who doesn't understand you and is not really trying to, is
Yes.
really just who is really just trying to cure you, but going about it in the completely wrong way.
That's right.
And he's really cool as this calm villain. I thought that was so dope. I'd love to see him in more shit like that.
Yeah.
As opposed to Barney Stinson. You know?
Right. There's a lot of, see, the thing is, as we're talking about, there's a lot of aspects I like about this film. I just wish for me it was put together a little bit better. It just did not land in those things. Like, I really did not enjoy that much about the greater machines and the battery stuff. Loved everything inside the Matrix. Did not like the action scenes, but then there's a few that I'm like, I did like that. So I'm like kind of like up and down when it comes to the Matrix. But
yeah,
I mean, I think your love for the Matrix also comes down to like, you love the Matrix. Like, this franchise is very important to you. You love the Matrix more than Spider-Man, I heard. So
damn.
Yeah.
Listen, that's up for debate. That's another Talking Tongue episode.
I feel like I'm opening a can of worms here, which I didn't mean to, but I did it anyways. But let's just leave it at that. Okay, so with all of that said, I should say one more thing. As much as I think Keanu Reeves doesn't phone it in this movie, I don't think he does. I shouldn't even said that, but like, I think he gives a very similar performance to his John Wick performance, which is kind of like, it's very similar.
Yeah, I mean,
he didn't feel like Neo in the original Matrix. Neo is much more animated with his face. He's more like doing stuff. I feel like acting and stuff. Where like Keanu Reeves in this is not acting. He's just not giving you a very nuanced performance, I think.
Definitely. Right? Like, yeah, there's some kind of funny stuff, but for a lot of the time, it just seems, especially at the beginning and, until he starts to kind of rebel, or I guess until he's freed, he kind of just is going along with this shit. It's like, what the fuck is happening to me? In the same way that the first Matrix movie did. So I guess there is that kind of similarity. And I also liked when in the bathroom, when Morpheus offers him the red pill the first time, and he just goes, no, and he tries to leave. That was fun. I would have liked to see some more fun stuff like that.
That's what I mean. Like, I wish there was more layered performance. Like, he did what he did for the benefit of the script that he was given and stuff like that. But in the original Matrix, like, he's like screaming and he's learning kung fu. You can see like much more intensity in his eyes and stuff like that. Yeah. And this one, he's more like kind of like lost, which is kind of fitting for this. Like, he's kind of a he doesn't know what's happening.
It kind of it fits into, I think, the nature of his character and how much he has changed after 60 years.
That's right.
Like after 60 years of popping blue pills and almost getting back to Trinity, but then the analyst just resetting and trying again.
Right.
So maybe he's just tired.
He's just tired. And I understand, we all are, of sequels and just reboots and stuff like that. I will say, though, one of my favorite things about Keanu Reeves is how generous he is and how there's a history of him donating the money he's made in movies like The Matrix, like John Wick, things like that, back to the community, to charities and things like that. Apparently, I could get this number a little bit wrong, but I think he donated around 70% of his salary on Matrix Resurrections back to charity, which just shows that, as much as I did not love Matrix Resurrections, I just love Keanu Reeves. And
exactly. You can't hate him.
I can't not support him. And he, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go watch a Matrix movie. I'm going to go watch a John Wick movie. I want to support this man because he's just trying to do good in the world.
For sure. He is. Yeah. He's a really cool dude. I know he's got a foundation that he runs as well. I mean, runs. He doesn't even put his name on it because he doesn't want his fame to be associated with it, which I think is, I think that's really noble.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that kind of stuff. Exactly. That's that kind of stuff that just makes him really cool. Yeah. Also, I mean, as an aside, he is very good in Cyberpunk. He's just, I like that, without spoiling anything, I guess. He plays Johnny Silverhand the whole time, but he is there every step of the way. It's not just like a one and done type of scene where he's just like, okay, you need to save the world. Sure. He's with you the whole time.
He shows up.
Up to the ending. It's really cool. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
All right. Well, Axe, do you want to give your final thoughts on Matrix Resurrections and give a rating? Give a rating on this movie.
Okay. Let me see what else I can rapid fire. White Rabbit is an insane needle drop. It's weird and dumb, and I love it. Action wasn't great. I love the music. I love the visual effects. I just love that we're back in the world of the Matrix, even though it might be for the last time. We didn't bring up Priyanka Chopra as Sati, but I like that it was the little girl from Revolutions, because she showed up at the beginning of the third movie when Neo's trapped in that subway station. Like that's the little anyway. That's really cool. Cool. I had a lot of fun with it. I will watch it again and again because it's such a fun time. It's probably my favorite movie of 2021.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's wow. Okay.
Like I want to say there's a couple others in the running, but it's probably up there. Like it's definitely the movie I've watched over the most. If I were to rate it, it's either a 4 or a 4.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like high praise. I would watch anything that Lana Wachowski makes at this point.
All right. Yeah. I'm not gonna rate it. You already know my feelings. It's. I think it's a fine movie.
You have to rate it though.
I have to rate it. Okay.
Yes. Give it to me.
2 Jonathan Groffs out of 4 Neil Patrick Harris's.
Damn. Okay. Solid. That's fine.
Yeah, that's 50%. That's a little lower than I was.
Oh, really? Okay.
No. I don't.
So is it 3 Jonathan Groffs out of 5 Jessica Henwicks?
2.5 Jonathan Groffs always the beginning of this race. 2.5 Jonathan Groffs out of 5 Carrie Ann Mosses.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah,
solid.
I don't think
stuff.
It's like yeah, to me it's not like a 7 out of 10 movie. It's more like a 6 out of 10 movie kind of thing. But would I watch it again? I would much rather watch the original Matrix, revisit that, then maybe watch this again. I think I missed
that's a good call.
I'm not attached to the series in that way, right?
For sure.
So anyways.
Absolutely. And like if you're not attached, you probably wouldn't like the second and third movies as much either.
Yeah.
But they go way deeper into like the real world and how Zion looks and all of that shit. Right. Which I think at the time not many people liked. But it's important. Anyway.
It is important to this movie, which is why I felt like I was out of the loop on that. Okay, Axe, what do you have to plug for the people at home?
Not that much. I mean, hug your pets for me.
Mm-hmm.
I am not doing too much from day to day. If there's some theater out there that you'd like me to see, then I will check it out. I recently watched the Come From Away recording on Apple TV, and it made me cry.
Oh, so good.
I am playing a lot of video games. What have I played recently? I'm getting back into Shovel Knight because I never finished that, and it's fantastic. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm just vibing. I'm just doing my thing.
Amazing.
Listen to Podcavern podcasts.
That's my plug. All right.
There you go.
You can find the rest of the shows in the Podcavern, www.podcavern.com. Yes, check out all the Podcavern shows and more to come. You will see Axe back in the Podcavern once I'm done hating him for having the wrong opinions once again. Just kidding.
Fair.
This was a great conversation.
Thank you.
So I'll see you all in the Matrix. And before we go, Axe has a world famous catchphrase that he's going to throw at you right now.
I know Kung Fu.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye.